Good morning, everyone. It's a little overcast this morning. We've had a little drizzle, but it's a beautiful morning. I say let's go take a tour of the garden. I hope everyone is having a beautiful Sunday morning. I thought it would be a good idea to come out and have a early morning garden tour. It's about 6:45 and we have a busy day planned, so I thought I'd get out early, take a look at what's happening in the garden. We had some sprinkles last night. That's always appreciated. There's a nice breeze. So it's a great time for an early morning tour. I haven't done one in a while, so I thought it would be great to take a look at what's growing. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll recognize this greenhouse, and it did well for seed starting. Overall, I think it did well for what it's constructed of. I have put a few things in the ground around it. There are a few peony from my favorite neighbor, Jean. She was thinning out and sent some over, so I was able to get that pretty little girl in the ground right there. Some chamomile, which are very small right now, and these are Munstead lavender. I've had a terrible time growing lavender. I don't know why. If you can see it, these two might make it. That is a clay pot where the bottom broke, and so I stuck a little annual in there, and of course that's some thyme growing in the corner. Sadly, these are two little persimmon trees that I ordered offline, and I don't think either one of them made it. They look pretty sad. The stick has actually gone out of that one, but yeah, they didn't make it. We'll take a quick peek in the greenhouse. I'm trying to do this with coffee in hand, and you've seen it in here before, but we had a run of days where it was nearly 90 degrees. As you can see, spinach bolted. I'm surprised the lettuce is still coming back. And over here is chamomile that I've started in hopes of transplanting, and that's worked really well. So I still have several plants to transplant out. And it gets really hot in here, up to 100, 110 degrees. And as you can see, the weeds grow well, but most other things don't do so hot. So we'll take a quick peek at what's up here. Sounds like the rain is starting again. And the only thing I have in here in jars, these are just some suckers. I always try to toss a few in water. You can see one of them has roots already, just in case I have a tomato plant die back. I tend to plant my tomatoes out a little earlier than is probably prudent for my zone, 8A. However, I try to have a couple backups, so I take suckers as soon as possible. So we'll come on out and we'll take a look at this new experimental part of the garden that we started this year without raised beds, but in mounds with wood chips in between. And I love wood chips. I try and get a load every year, but this year we got a really big load. You don't get to determine the size of the chip drop that you get, so this load was large. So we made this little area. This is thyme that's flowering. I've had that plant for some time, but I think the flowers are beautiful. And next to the thyme is a little area of peas. I like the pea shoots. I never really plant enough peas to shell them and have bags to put up, but I do really enjoy the pea shoots in salad. And then down these rows, they are stuffed and overstuffed. I can tell you that I've broken most every rule. There is garlic planted down the side of the row with beans. beans, and it's a mix of beans. It's bush beans, but they're black beans and white beans. If you look closely, there's a pepper plant stuck in occasionally. Down at the end of the row, there's some Napa cabbage that's been in there for a little while. And on the back row, those are actually collards with corn plants in between. And then of course at the front here are some onions and one lonely perpetual spinach plant. So when I say there's a whole bunch of stuff in here and the rules went out the window, we just thought we'd try what we wanted, and we'll see how it goes. If you keep coming down, there are a couple of raised beds. This one on the bottom has sweet potatoes, and I put them in, it's been 5 or 6 days now at least. And there's a jar with some starts that I'm trying to figure out what to do with. So I will wander around my yard and just slip them in. And here on top is some absolutely beautiful elephant garlic. Absolutely beautiful elephant garlic. So hopefully you can see that. And again, I slipped in a little eggplant. You see that little fella in there. This is standard hardneck garlic on this side. There is a purple basil and a little nasturtium that's begun to flower. So we'll walk around. Oh, did I fail to mention those tomatoes? Like I said, I planted them a little early. They've been in over a week, and I have some that have been in much longer. So let's take a look. We'll go into the main part of the garden, and we'll try and make it before we get completely soaked. This is some straw that I used to mulch from a local farm that does not get sprayed. And headed in, you can see the lettuce is going well. There's some romaine in here. And look at that. It's a ladybug. Oh, that's so nice to see. That's one of those beneficial insects you always want to see in the garden. And there's the basil plant there next to my roses. And let's see if we can get the gate open. Okay, well, going into where the raised beds are located, there's some impatiens with some onions I do not believe are going to make it. An eggplant and a bush cucumber. And this is a raised bed of peppers. And most of these are Jalafuego. They are my favorite. We've got some tomatoes down here, and they've been in at least 2 weeks. It is April 5th, Sunday, April 5th. Hopefully I've got that right. But I love the Sweet 100. There is a honeycomb. That's new for me. It's also a cherry tomato. It's supposed to be very sweet. And this is another honeycomb, as you can see. And you can hear my girls see me coming, and they are getting a little antsy for breakfast. But in any case, more lettuce that hasn't stopped. I'm surprised with the weather. Basil, that's looking great. And there's an eggplant and a pepper. Moving along to our strawberry patch, which looks awesome. There's some onions planted over here on the side, and that's a mix of red onions and Walla Walla, I believe. If I can get down here, you can see the strawberries are really doing well. We've been snacking on them as they turn red, and that's been really cool. That's a mum who's managed to make it. Down at the bottom on our tower, some lemon balm, and a tomato I did not label, which is not unusual for me, and another pepper. So we're gonna come on around, and you'll see a zucchini and a crookneck yellow squash with, again, 2 peppers stuck in. Can you tell there's a theme? We love peppers. And there's some additional peppers over here. I believe these are the lunchbox peppers that I stuck in with the dinosaur kale and some beets that should be ready to come out soon. I'll have to check those, as well as the tomatoes I mentioned have been in for a while. So there's some daikon radishes growing down the side, as well as some carrots and radishes I sowed. This is mammoth basil in the corner, white and Ichiban eggplant, and the lovely tomatoes that have been in since April, I want to say April 15th or 16th. There, of course, some Cherokee Purple. There's a Mortgage Lifter. What other variety? We've got a mushroom basket in here somewhere, as well as a beefsteak. So you can see those coming along. There's some lettuce going to seed, additional Jalafuego peppers, and I will show you where I placed the green and red bell peppers when we go out to my new surprise area. Okay, dinosaur kale, the okra is just starting to come up, and as you can see, most everything looks really beautiful, but some things started munching on this cabbage plant, which is not unusual for this time of year. I try not to use pesticides. Occasionally I'll use something if it gets really, really bad, but I really do try to avoid it. But I had some very aggressive slugs. Here's a pretty little tomato, and this is where I had my really bad situation with the slugs taking out pretty much all of the King of Glory, King of Garden lima beans. So we'll see. I don't like to use it. If it continues, then I'm just going to call it a loss. Let's come out of this area and walk around to where you hear the hens, to the brand new area that developed because we had so many chips as a result of the very generous chip drop. So we'll walk around here and you'll see we added 2 apple trees this year. Our grapes are doing well from last year. This is my husband's project, and we are learning as we go. So clearly we need to watch a few more videos, do a little bit more research on pruning, but they look healthy. Our pruning, on the other hand, could use some improvement. We have some grow bags here, which I love. The soil over here is not the best, but again, there's sweet potatoes, a variety of peppers. Those are bell peppers, an additional sweet potato, and just an extra tomato that didn't have a home. So I've been putting them everywhere. That's a San Marzano. There's another San Marzano here with some dill. This is the tree line. That is an elderberry. There are a couple of those, some Egyptian walking onions, and I believe that's butternut lettuce that's still doing well. And there's that elderberry I mentioned. And there's another one over this way. These are cucumbers. I believe those are straight 8. Let's take a look. Yep, straight 8. And you're gonna see a little bit of a mess. We haven't gotten it all cleaned up. That's our newest fig tree. Some sage, and again some peppers, and that's one of those chamomile plants that got planted out. The girls may get a little bit loud. And this is what we did with all the additional wood chips that we had no idea what to do with. Let me see if I can give you an overview. So we just came out, put down some cardboard, we got a little extra mushroom compost, and we said, we're gonna try and make a non-traditional sort of a food forest. And we did. I tried to protect this little eggplant for some rabbits that were on the move, but Let's see, that is, I believe, a zucchini and a tomatillo, looking a little pale this morning, and a whole host of tomatoes. My husband's favorite is out here, a crazy berry. There's a bumblebee purple. And as you can see, I've started staking, but they look very healthy. As it warms up, they'll grow quicker, but they've been doing very well considering how early they went out this year. That's another one of those King of Glory, King of Garden. I don't know why I wanted, they are a glorious lima bean, but that's another King of Garden lima bean with a cucumber next to it and our rosemary bush. And this is great because you can see the inside of the garden. So this was just a kind of throw it at the wall and let's see what sticks area. There's some okra, peppers, as well as a few stalks of corn, which we've never planted and wanted to try. And back over in this area, there's some ground cherries that are coming up, some tomatillos. And that's where my pile of mushroom compost was. So we tossed a couple of seeds down. Excuse me, Marigold, can I finish? No? That's my bucket o' carrots. And the beginning of our chicken channel. That'll be a whole nother video, and we'll show you how we get them out of the run so they can patrol the perimeter and help us out with some pests. And since she insists on being on camera, let's say good morning to Marigold. And of course, there's silence. Ah, good morning. Good morning. We'll go ahead and go full circle so you can get a view of the outside and I can show you something new that I'm growing. Just like everyone else, you know, all the lettuce becomes available at once. Okay, so down here, way down, is a new plant for me, a new vegetable this season. Is called Egyptian spinach. It likes full sun, so I'll probably have to move them. But they're supposed to be really good as an alternative to lettuce in the summertime when lettuce won't grow because it's too hot here. So, uh-oh, they're the scoundrels. They're all watching. So we'll see how that goes. I also grow Malabar spinach, but I know some people don't care for it. It vines, and it can also be a little bit slimy in texture like okra, but I don't have any Malabar sprouting right now to show you. So hopefully in the May or June video. This is a tree that came down and we said, we've got the chips, let's try it. So this is a cushaw squash, never grown one before. We're hoping for the best, and that is actually a black-eyed Susan coming up back there. One of my very favorite plants in the garden. This is our fig tree. It looks fantastic. Just had a fresh sprinkle of rain. Lots and lots of mint. And this is one of those areas I need to get in. Our prior owner planted vinca, and it is an ongoing battle. And this is also a relatively new area that we need to get in, clean out some of the weeds that are coming up. But we are trying to make this our berry patch. And as you can see, there's some blueberries that I'm sure the birds are looking forward to as much as I am. Watermelon is another blueberry, and then there are a couple of raspberry bushes. So this bed needs some clean out. Not everything is looking great, but This is another one of those. This was actually a 55-gallon tote that we cut into 3 pieces. And that's just got a mismatched group of things in it. There are a couple of cantaloupe, a watermelon, and a tomato. So there's no telling. That is a plum tree. And way over here, tucked in on the back, is a comfrey plant. I hope to be able to use these with some cicadas. If you saw my last short, you'll know the cicadas are in full force here. As well as a Jerusalem artichoke. So I'm hoping that the comfrey will fill in this area next to the bamboo, and I'll be able to use it as fertilizer. Just chop it up and put it in a tub of water so that I can use it to fertilize. Just wanted to show you the good and the bad and the ugly and all the experiments we have going on. It's May and things are growing quickly, and even though it's messy, we're kind of wild with what we've thrown together this year. I still think it's beautiful, even though we've got a little work to do. This is a circle of crepe myrtle, and I love these trees. My son bought them for me one Mother's Day. I was hoping to create a little sitting area, and I don't think that's going to work out. But in any case, there are 3 pumpkin plants growing quite happily underneath the crepe myrtle. So even if I can't sit under them, I think that the pumpkins are very happy, and there are some sweet potatoes planted over there on the side. So when I say we have some experiments going and it's going to be a wild summer, I am telling the truth. Thank you for joining me today on the morning walk. It has been a pleasure chatting with you. I'll let you know how the garden grows this year. Things are looking up right now, and we'll see what happens with the weather. Several experiments going on that we'll keep you in the loop on, and I'll also post a video on our channel as we make progress with that and our IBC tote project. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank my son for all his help with the wood chips and to thank my dear husband. I'm not physically up to all this, and without this help, it just wouldn't have happened. Thank you, sweetheart. Come on, Oscar, it's time to go in. You're gonna need a bath. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.